Israel carried out deadly airstrikes in the Gaza Strip as the conflict entered its 10th month on Sunday, with fighting raging across the Palestinian territory and fresh diplomatic efforts underway to halt the violence. Israel has said it will send a delegation in the coming days to continue truce talks with Qatari mediators that began recently in Doha. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's spokesman said gaps remained with Hamas on how to secure a ceasefire and hostage release deal. It was agreed that next week Israeli negotiators will travel to Doha to continue the talks. There are still gaps between the parties, the spokesman said in a statement on Friday. Meanwhile, the fighting in Gaza continued unabated, with the Palestinian Red Crescent saying Sunday that the bodies of 6 people, including 2 children, who were killed in Israeli strikes had arrived at Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in the central city of Deir al-Balah. Paramedics also said Sunday that 6 people had been killed in an Israeli strike on a house in a northern area of Gaza City. The day before, the health ministry in Gaza said 16 people had been killed in a strike on a school run by the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, that was sheltering displaced people in Nusayrat, in central Gaza. The Israeli military said its aircraft had targeted terrorists operating around the Al-Jawni school. The military earlier said it had conducted operations across much of the Gaza Strip, including Shujaia in the north, Deir al-Balah, and Rafah in the south. Shujaia is among the areas the military had previously declared to be cleared of Hamas, but where fighting has since resumed. Gaza's media office and paramedics said 4 journalists working for local media outlets were killed in strikes overnight into Saturday, and UNRWA said 2 of its employees had been killed. UNRWA, which coordinates much of the aid delivered to Gaza, says 194 of its employees have been killed in the onslaught. Ball in Israel's court. The United States, which has mediated ceasefire negotiations alongside Qatar and Egypt, has talked up the prospects of a deal, saying there is a pretty significant opening for both sides. U.S. President Joe Biden announced a pathway to a truce deal in May that he said had been proposed by Israel. It included an initial 6-week truce, an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza's population centers, and the freeing of hostages held by Palestinian fighters. Talks subsequently stalled, but a U.S. official said Thursday that a new proposal from Hamas moves the process forward and may provide the basis